The fishermen and the call. The Sea of Galilee shimmered in the early morning light as fishermen went about their daily tasks. Among them were Simon and his brother Andrew, their nets heavy from a night of fishing. Despite their efforts, the catch had been poor, leaving them weary and frustrated. They pulled their boat to the shore, resigned to another meager day. Nearby, a crowd had gathered, their murmurs growing louder. Simon glanced up, curious. A man was speaking, his voice calm yet commanding, as if each word was crafted to touch the heart. It was Jesus of Nazareth, the teacher who had been traveling through the region. Simon didn't pay much attention at first. Preachers came and went, each with their own messages. But this man's presence was different. His words were not just spoken. They seemed to resonate deep within, as though they carried the weight of eternal truth. Jesus approached Simon's boat and stepped in without hesitation. "Put out into the deep water and let down your nets for a catch," he said, his tone gentle but firm. Simon frowned, his skepticism plain. "Master, we've worked hard all night and caught nothing, but because you say so, I will let down the nets." Reluctantly, Simon and Andrew rowed out, the weight of doubt heavy on their shoulders. Yet, as they cast their nets into the water, something extraordinary happened. The nets became so full of fish that they began to tear. Desperately, they called to their partners, James and John, who rushed over in their boat to help. Together they hauled in the miraculous catch, their boats nearly sinking from the weight. Astonished, Simon fell to his knees before Jesus. "Go away from me, Lord," he said, his voice trembling. "I am a sinful man." But Jesus lifted him with a reassuring hand. "Do not be afraid," he said. "From now on, you will fish for people." Simon didn't fully understand what Jesus meant, but his heart burned with an undeniable call. He, Andrew, James, and John left their nets, their boats, and their lives as fishermen behind. They followed Jesus, drawn by the promise of a purpose far greater than they could imagine, the storm on the sea. Months later, Simon, the now called Peter, and the other disciples found themselves on the Sea of Galilee once more. This time, Jesus was with them, though he lay asleep at the back of the boat, exhausted from teaching. As they sailed, a sudden storm arose, the wind howling and the waves crashing against the boat. Water poured in, threatening to sink them. The disciples, seasoned fishermen though they were, panicked. "Master!" Peter shouted, shaking Jesus awake. "Don't you care if we drown?" Jesus stood, the wind whipping through his hair, and raised his hand. "Quiet. Be still," he commanded. At once, the wind ceased, and the sea became calm, as if nature itself obeyed his voice. The disciples stared in awe, their fear replaced by wonder. "Why are you so afraid?" Jesus asked them, his tone both gentle and probing. "Do you still have no faith?" They whispered among themselves. "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him."